Hello there and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be trying out the Sahara eyeshadow palette by Alter Ego. If you're not familiar with the Alter Ego brand, which I am actually not that familiar with them, but in preparation for the video I've done a bit of research. They seem to dupe a lot of kind of more expensive, more well-known, very popular makeup, specifically eyeshadow palettes. So the palette that I'm going to be trying out today is called the Sahara palette, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the Bieber eyeshadow palette by Natasha Denona. I will throw a picture up now of the Natasha Denona palette. That palette costs like £120. I mean, who has that much disposable income to spend on an eyeshadow palette? And I'm not criticising or judging. If you earn that money and that's your money, you have every right to spend your money on anything that you want. And if it makes you happy, then wonderful. But I'm coming from a place of Mrs. Thrifty, Mrs. I do not spend over £20 on an eyeshadow palette these days. You know, I'm in that kind of mode now. But anyway, this palette's meant to be a dupe of the Natasha Denona one. So if you've been eyeing up the Natasha Denona, God, I feel like how many times have I said Natasha Denona in this video? It would have been easier for me just to have said the Bieber palette, really. But apparently I don't like making life easy for myself. So anyway, if you've been eyeing up that palette, then you may have a dupe in this. So this palette costs £16. This is she. I'm really sorry that she's probably not looking her best because I have already swatched her. I did the swatches last night just in preparation for the video. I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. But this is her. And I do feel like I need to make a little apology because well, do I? I don't know if I do actually, but I'm going to just tell you anyway. So I showed this palette in a recent AliExpress haul and I was pretty savage, like honestly, because my initial impression of this palette just from looking at it was that it was a little bit of a bore fest, you know, just like, oh yeah, we've got neutrals, we've got browns, we've got more browns, and then we've got more browns, you know what I mean? I was just a little bit underwhelmed, uninspired, but a lot of you guys were actually really interested in the palette. And since filming that video, as I said, I've done a bit of research on Alter Ego and the reviews are outstandingly positive. I'm actually really excited to try this palette because I have heard such great things about the formula. Apparently it's buttery, it's creamy, it's smooth, it's easy to blend. It's all of the good stuff that we look for when you're a makeup connoisseur. So I am going to show you the footage of the swatches now, and then we're just going to get straight on and we're going to pop these shadows all over my face and vagina. No, we're not really. We're just going to put them on my eyes and then yeah, we can see how it goes. So overall I was moderately impressed with the swatches. Yes, for the most part the shadows were smooth. They were rich in pigment, but there were some that just weren't quite there, you know. I definitely think that the shimmers look really beautiful. They felt almost quite creamy. They had that kind of, you know, real smooth buttery feel to them. So I think the shimmers are going to be really good. And I have tried another Alter Ego palette before, and the shimmers, like I remember them, they were good. The mattes I'm not so super excited about, but just remember these are swatches. So I mean, for me, I only really use swatches just to get a feel for the product and also to kind of see what the shade looks like on my skin. So yeah, swatches okay. I'd say 5 out of 10 for swatches. Okay, so back to Anwen in the studio for the eye look. Thank you, Anwen. Thank you for that. Okay, so also just one other thing. So me and Honeys, we went shopping earlier today to do some Christmas shopping. It was great. Honeys was losing the will to live by the end of it, and he trumped. Yes, he trumped in TK Maxx. So to begin the eye look today, we are going to go in with this clay shade. It's actually called clay. Like, I've not just I'm not saying it's made out of clay. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyway. This one looks to be a very light grey, which, I mean, I must say I'm very, very excited to actually try a grey. So I'm just going to pop that shade all up in my crease. And to do this, I'm going to be using a brush from Makeup Revolution. I actually like Makeup Revolution's brushes. Like, they're really, really affordable. I like them. They're fluffy. They do everything I want, so great. Oh, I hate it when I've got, you know, foundation on my nose ring. It pisses me off because usually I don't notice it whilst I'm filming. It's only when I'm editing I'm like, holy shit, girl, check your nose ring, like literally. But anyway, okay, so let's do this. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but this palette costs £16, which, oh sorry, not pounds, dollars. Oh, that gets me every time. And you know, if this is actually a really, really good palette, I think $16, it isn't too bad. Do you know what I mean? It's underneath my £20 budget, which is great. Okay, so I'm just kind of applying this shade. I'm not seeing much, honestly. Like, I'm kind of feeling like, have I suddenly gone blind? Like, what's going on? I mean, you can kind of see it, but not really. Oh my gosh, guys, also as well, when we were shopping and when we were in TK Maxx. So I was looking at some of the coats. This woman stood at the mirror just like trying on a coat. And Honey was like, well, what about this red coat here? And I looked at it, I went, Anyway, the woman was like, oh, that's my coat. And she just put her coat down to try on this other coat. And she saw me basically go, about her coat. Oh my gosh, like, what a savage I am. Like, without even meaning to be. I felt terrible because that's not in my nature at all, and I felt so bad, and she definitely saw it. But then Honey's, to try and, you know, ease the tension, was laughing. He was like, oh, that's funny, isn't it? And I was like, no, Honeys, that is not funny. No, that's not funny. That lady over there, she now thinks I'm a savage, ruthless and a savage. Okay, so I feel like, you know, you can definitely see the grey there if you compare it to the other eye. If I stop blinking, you know, so that you can actually see. But she's not very pigmented. Like, I think I've seen more pigment in, well, I don't know, but I've seen more pigment in my time. Like, I'm going to keep building her up, but this may take a while, so I'm going to pop you in fast forward. Oh, guys, I forgot to tell you that this palette was sent to me very kindly by Alter Ego. So that won't affect in any way my review, but I feel like it's really important to tell you so that you have all of the info. But you know, I am an honest reviewer, so I mean, it will not affect my review, as you're about to see, because I'm about to tell you that this grey, although I was really excited about the shade, and I do think that it's definitely like getting there, but it's taking some time. Like, it's taking longer than I would want, and I'm just kind of, you know, picturing in the morning, you know, you're trying to get the kids ready, you're trying to make yourself look half decent. I just feel like this is going to take ages to actually build up to anything. And I've got the Nightingale palette by Pretty Vulgar, and that palette has a kind of smoky grey, and that one takes no building up at all. Whereas this motherfucker, oh my gosh, like, does she think I have till next Christmas to do this? I don't know. I'm a bit bored with it, honestly, so I'm going to move on. And we're going to move over to a deep shade of grey because, like, why not? So this one looks to be a little bit more of a charcoal grey. It's definitely quite cool toned. Also, I didn't mention, because I'm obviously a crap reviewer, but there are 3 shimmers in this palette and the rest are mattes, although they're not your typical matte. Like, they almost feel like they are made with clay because they're very smooth matte. So is that a satin? I think they're a satin. I never know what a satin is. Anyway, we're going to go in with this shade here, and this is called Slate, which is a great name for this shade. Like, really. I'm just going to pop this in the outer vagina. Do you ever get a feeling like, you know, you feel like you've got the eyeshadow on your brush, but then not really. I think I'm going to change my brush because maybe it's my brush, maybe Makeup Revolution has let me down. So I'm going to move over to a different brush. So I'm going to move to this brush by Coastal Scents. This is a really, really good blending brush. You know what, guys? I always try not to read reviews or watch reviews prior to trying a product, because I always do feel like, even without meaning to, like, or consciously, like, or like unconsciously or subconsciously. What's the difference between unconsciously and subconsciously? I don't know. But I feel like you're always going to be influenced a little bit. And before, like, going into this video, I'd read like really positive reviews. So like, I was really expecting this palette was going to blow my socks off. But I'm not feeling like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. Like, it's okay. But, you know, if I were to compare this to the eyeshadows that I get from AliExpress, which are a lot cheaper, like, you know, for example, by the Beauty Glazed or You Can Be brand, I don't think that the formula, like, so far is anything like too special, you know. Okay, so I'm just going to move on to the other eye because I'm at a loss for what else to do. It's going to take some time, you know what I mean, because I'm going to be building up that grey for fucking ages. So I'm going to do all of that and then I will be back. Or maybe I won't. But maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Guys, I'm struggling here. And I don't know if I'm maybe using the wrong brush, but let me just show you what's happening. There's tons of fallout. But when I dip my brush into the shade and then I tap off the excess, just watch what happens. I just almost feel like the shadow is moving around my lid. Like, it's not actually, it's not blending in. It's not like sticking in a way. It's just, I mean, it's going everywhere but where I want it to go. Guys, I'm struggling. Like, I'm really struggling. And I can't really try out. Well, I'm going to try out another shade. Feck it. I'm going to go. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. I don't know. I just apologise to my mirror. Like, that's who I apologise to. But anyway, so I think I'm going to go in with this shade next. This brown. I'm going to just wipe away the mess I made. Jeez, guys, like, literally, I didn't mean this look to be quite so gothic today. And on a side note, I think that these greys would work really well for contouring, you know, if you're going for, like, the dead girl kind of look. But anyway, so we're going to move on. And I don't know, I think it might be the brush that isn't working for me. So I'm going to go to Old Trusty. Like, this is an AOA brush. It's super cheap. But I would trust her with my life. Like, I really, really would. So I'm going to dip into this brown shade, which is called Canyon. We're going to tap off the excess because the excess powder is killing me. It's doing my head in. It really is, guys. So I'm just going to, like, pop this. I'm going to kind of pop it. Sorry, I'm just turning you around. So I'm just going to pop this down here. I do not know where I'm going with this, but I mean, I'm going to pop a little bit more down over on this side. Do you know what? I wore false lashes about a week ago and I can still see like bits of the glue. Can you see? In my eyelashes. I mean, really, guys, like, really, is it really worth it? I think not. But anyway, I'm actually going to change which colour I'm using. I'm going to go in with Sierra, which is this beautiful, it's kind of like a red brown, but not like a red, it's like a purple brown. It's like a plum. I think that's what I mean. Oh, this one isn't as powdery. Hallelujah. I mean, hallelujah. Really. So I'm just going to pop this just in the outer vagina. I think the reason why I like this brush is that it just does not take any messing about at all. Like, it's dense, but it's soft. It just takes no shit. So when my eyelid is trying to move all over the place, do its own thing, this brush says, no, bitch, no, I am in charge here. Also, I feel like this shadow is so much better than the grey. So much better. You know what though, just thinking about it, you don't see that many grey eyeshadow palettes, do you? And maybe it's because grey is really, really hard to formulate. I just don't know, but I don't know. Anyway, guys, so I'm going to pop a little bit more of this beautiful plum shade. Like, I'm really liking this shade. Is it plum or is it aubergine? I mean, what is it, guys? It doesn't really matter, though, does it? Because you can see it. So, like, you can see the shade. So, I'm not going to, like, lose my shit trying to describe it. I really like this shade. Like, I'm really liking it. It's like a party on my lid. Okay, so under the eye, I'm going to go in with the deeper grey, which was a slate. And then I'm going to go in with the beautiful shade that we've just used, which was this middle one. Also, just so that you can see how powdery these eyeshadows like really are. They're so powdery. And this shade that I've just used definitely was not quite as powdery as the two greys, but wow, I mean, this is the powderiest palette I've used in a long time. Like really, guys. Okay, so I'm going to pop this under the eye. Oh wait, I'm not. I'm going to tap off the excess and then pop under the eye. Yeah, all of a sudden, like I'm loving the palette. Like I really am. It just takes like one good shade to make me turn. And I'm anyone's, but no, I'm kind of enjoying it all of a sudden now. I just think maybe I was using the wrong brush with it. I'm going to just blame myself, you know. I'm that kind of person where, you know, if there's a problem or something goes wrong, I'll always just kind of blame myself because I don't have any confidence. Oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. I do have confidence, but at the same time, I always think, oh yeah, you know, if there's an issue, I think I'm the one that's caused it. Popping this, you can't see, can you? Sorry, guys. You ever notice, like, you know, if you have like hazel eyes and then you put a red eyeshadow like around your eyes, all of a sudden they look really green, like really green. And I don't have green eyes, I've got hazel eyes, but they suddenly look green now because I've got that hint of red. Oh, this is doing my head in, you know this. I mean, really, guys. Anyway, so I'm just going to pop some of the red over here. Oh my gosh, I've got so much powder in my eyeballs right now. Like there's so much in my eyeballs. Like I'm sure that that's probably not good, but it's fine. Okay, so next we are going to try this shade here, which is called Fox.
What does the fox say?
Sorry guys, I'm just gonna like pop this just in the center of my lid, just to create a little bit of a gradient in shades. So I would definitely say Foxy is lighter and has more red in it than the previous shade that we used. So I just thought it would be nice, you know, to like kind of blend in with it to create gradient. I don't know what I'm saying. Have you noticed, guys? You're thinking, what is she saying? Like, where is she going with this? Is there a conclusion to this story? No. Do you know what? Now that these eyeshadows are actually on my eyes, I'm actually really, really enjoying them. I feel like those two grey shades were not great at all, but the other shades that I've used have been beautiful. They're definitely satin. Like, if you look on my lid, they have that kind of, a little bit of a sheen. Not like a shine, a sheen. You know, we can't be getting confused between sheen and shine because they're different things, but I can see that, so I'm kind of liking it, but it's annoying me because I've not blended it properly here, so I'm just going to do that. Alright, so there we go. Right, so next we're going to use a shimmer. I think it's very interesting actually in this palette that they have put the two grey shades in, which are very much cool tones. The rest of the palette, with the exception of the black and maybe a couple of the browns and obviously this cream shade here, the majority of the palette, like when I look at it, I see warm tones. So I think it's interesting that they have really, you know, with the shimmers, they have focused more on the warmer tone, which isn't really conducive, you know, with the grey. Of course, you can use any eyeshadow you want, warm tones, cool tones, use yellow and use a red, like just use whatever shade you want. And makeup is all about fun, but just in terms of like a cohesive palette, I just think the greys look really, they just really look really like out of sync with everything else. And I feel like if you were to buy this palette, you probably wouldn't use the greys that much, especially considering that they're shit. So next we're going to go in with a shimmer, and we're going to go in with Jewel, which is the coolest shimmer in the palette. Although I was a little bit disappointed because I definitely feel like this shimmer and this shimmer, they look very similar. This one's a little bit more of an icy champagne, and this one's more of like a peachy champagne. I mean, just could they not have done something different? I could really give me a gold, give me a bronze, just give me something that isn't just a variation of a fucking champagne. Do you know what I mean, guys? Am I asking too much? Am I? Okay, anyway, so I'm going to begin with going in with my finger. So I'm going into Jewel now. She feels very soft, very silky. So I'm just going to pop her hair. Do you know what? I'd love to do like a side-by-side comparing this palette to the Natasha Denona palette. And I bet the Natasha Denona is not that much better, honestly. I really like this shimmer. I think she's looking beautiful. But I am going to go in with a wet brush. I was going to say finger, but I'm going to go in with a wet brush. Because I want to get the best out of her, and generally with shimmer eyeshadows I will always try them out with a wet brush just to make them be their best selves, you know what I mean? I'm going to get a little bit of my Makeup Revolution Glow Fix spray, and I'm going to spray my brush. I'm also going to spray my face while I'm here because I think it'd be rude not to, you know? Oh yes, bitch, yes. Oh, I forgot to spray my brush. Oh my gosh, I was putting it back and then I forgot. Okay. Do you know what? What a waste of product is this? I'm going to just spray my table. There we go. Spray my table. Save myself some money. Although I'll have to clean my table later, but that's fine. Oh my gosh, this is like a totally different shadow. I mean, I liked it before, but she did look a little bit dry. Whereas now, can you see? Magnificent. Shimmers are thirsty. They're thirsty for water, for fluid. They're thirsty little feckers. Really like, do you know what? This palette, it's done a 180 on me. I was not impressed at all, just with the greys. You know my thoughts on the greys. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I really was not that enamoured by it. But the brownie red shades, and now this beautiful champagne shimmer, definitely won me over. Look at that, guys. I mean, that is something else. That is really beautiful. Like, really beautiful. I'm actually really liking everything at this point, apart from, like, I need to get rid of this on my face. But this is the look as we have it now. I am just going to go ahead and I'm going to get the beautiful, beautiful... I know I called it a plum, and I know it's not a plum, but I don't know what else to call it. And I know that you're going to get bored if I just keep talking about what shade it is. So I'm going to use this one, guys, and I'm going to just pop that in the inner bit of my crease. I build up a little bit of something. And also, you know that grey shade that I used at the beginning, you know, the one that I didn't like, in case I've not told you yet. But I just feel like that's added a beautiful contour to my eye. So I'm going to try and cash in on that a bit now. This shadow is so easy to blend. I think because it's like a satin, it's just very smooth. And I know you're going to hate me when I say it's buttery. It's fucking buttery, guys. And I am just feeling so grungy today. And I'm loving it. I am going to go over the shimmer because I know I've kind of, you know, got rid of her a little bit by accident. And by the way, where did the foundation on the tip of my nose go? You know, like when you do your washing, you always end up losing a sock. I feel like, you know, I also always end up losing my foundation on the tip of my nose. And I feel like it's somewhere it's hanging out with all of those socks that I'm missing. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with the shimmer. I'm going to wet my brush, and we want maximum shimmer. We won't accept anything less. Okay, so here we have the look. I am going to go ahead. I'm going to do my mascara, bronzer, blush, just everything else. I'm going to patch up my nose, and then I'll be back to give you my final. Okay, so I have finally finished the look. This is she from every angle, from over here, from up close, from here, from looking down, from every angle. Here she is. I actually really like the look. I think that the actual eyeshadows, like now on the eye, I think they look expensive. Like, I think they actually look expensive. And other than those ghastly grey shades, which I never thought I'd hear myself say ghastly grey, because grey is one of my favourite colours, but it did not work. Like, they did not work. So it's a shame really that I started off with the greys in a way, because I was a little bit like bummed out, and I was like, oh my gosh, but then it got better. It was like a roller coaster. Like, it started off bumpy, but then it got good. It got good. We were doing loop-the-loops. We were coming down really fast. We were pissing ourselves because we were having such a good time. So overall, I actually really do like this palette. I'm not going to go on about the grey shades because I feel like, you know, this is a bit of a conclusion, but I've been like reviewing the palette all the way through the video, so I don't want to just kind of repeat myself here, but just to kind of summarize, I like this palette apart from the two grey shades. I don't think they worked, nor do I think the formula was great, but I really like the shimmer that I tried. I really like the warm eyeshadows. Like, I really like those, and I really like the final look. So overall, like, I have to say I like the palette. I think for £16 this is really good value. The shadows themselves, they are very powdery. They're a little bit messy. They're not the easy shadows that I've ever worked with in my life, but you never know, maybe I'm just having a bad day today, which is quite possible. If you were eyeing up this palette and you were thinking to yourself, do you know what, should I go for it, should I not? I would probably say, yeah, go for it, but don't expect anything from the greys, you know what I mean? But yeah, I wouldn't have any qualms recommending it. But for me, just like my personal opinion on this, the colour family is just not hugely exciting for me. If the formulas were a little bit easy to work with, I would say that this would be an ideal everyday, you know, going into work, office kind of look, kind of palette. But because I found the formula tricky to work with, even for the warm shades, I don't know. I don't think it's the easiest palette to work with. But if you were really excited and in love with the idea of it, I'd probably encourage you to get it. Like, I wouldn't encourage you hugely. I wouldn't be like, you know, over the top, like, you need it, you need this in your life. I would just be saying, do you know what? Yeah, I mean, if you really want it, I think you could make it work. But she needs a lot of TLC. But she gets there in the end. But, and probably, actually, if you're more skilled at makeup than me, which would not take a lot, then you could probably get her to work a lot quicker than I did. But anyway, I'm going to go now because I just feel like I'm just repeating myself. But I really hope that you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much to Alter Ego for sending the palette to me to try. I really had fun trying it, as I always do. I hope that you have a great rest of the day, and I will see you in the next video.